Star Trek Online, often abbreviated as STO, is a massively multiplayer online role-playing game developed by Cryptic Studios based on the popular Star Trek series created by Gene Roddenberry. The game is set in the 25th century, 30 years after the events of Star Trek, Nemesis. Star Trek Online is the first massively multiplayer online role-playing game within the Star Trek franchise and was released for the Microsoft Windows platform on February 2, 2010. At launch, the game required a game purchase and a recurring monthly fee. On January 17, 2012, it relaunched with a tier of free-to-play access available. After a public beta testing period, a completed version of the game was released for the Apple Macintosh platform on March 11, 2014. The game can be downloaded for Windows from the Perfect World Entertainment platform Arc Games or from Steam, or from Perfect World Entertainment as a standalone launcher for Mac. As of January 30, 2014, the game had 3.2 million players. Setting: Star Trek Online is set in the years 2409/2410, 30 years after the events of Star Trek Nemesis. The alliance between the United Federation of Planets and the Klingon Empire has collapsed, and both sides are once again at war. The Romulan Star Empire continues to deal with the fallout of the loss of their homeworld 22 years earlier, while the Dominion rebuilds its forces. The Borg Collective has re-emerged as a major threat. Each player is the captain of his own individual ship, utilizing any and all officers who have access to a ship, including the player's character. In keeping with naval tradition, anyone who commands a ship, regardless of his or her actual rank, is considered a de facto captain. Currently, there are 3 factions available: Federation, Klingon, and Romulan, and players can create characters from any of these factions at level 1. Previously, Klingon characters could only be unlocked at and after level 25, and Romulan characters were not available. Bridge officers have a separate progression, including the purchase of skills and equipment, and can be promoted to higher ranks by their ship's captains. The game features references to several famous storylines, ships, and characters from various Star Trek television series. The story unfolds in the standard timeline established within the televised Star Trek series, mostly ignoring the events presented in Abrams' Star Trek reboot, which is set in an alternate timeline. However, it does follow the plot from the reboot, the destruction of Romulus, that is within the Prime Star Trek timeline. One confirmed reference to Abrams' film was revealed when Zachary Quinto announced at the 2009 Spike TV Video Game Awards that he will be voicing dialogue during the game's tutorial. Leonard Nimoy is heard for all of the gameplay and exploration voiceover samples. The LCARS computer system dialogue is voiced by a Majel Barrett impersonator. Other Star Trek alumni have also returned to provide voicing for their earlier roles. Starting with the Legacy of Romulus expansion in 2013, Denise Crosby has voiced both the characters of Tasha Yar and Saylan. Michael Dorn reprised his role as Worf later in the year. In February 2014, Tim Russ returned to the role of Tuvok. With the launch of the game's second expansion, Delta Rising, in October, Star Trek Voyager actors Ethan Phillips, Robert Picardo, Jerry Ryan, and Garrett Wang returned to voice their roles of Neelix, the Doctor, Seven of Nine, and Harry Kim, respectively, for the game. Gameplay: in Star Trek Online, each player acts as the captain of his own ship. Players are able to play as a starship, controlling the ship's engineering, tactical, and science systems by keyboard, mouse, or using an on-screen console. Players can also beam down and move around as a player character in various settings with access to weapons and specific support and combat skills relating to their own characters' classes. The 2 combat systems are intertwined throughout the game. Away team missions feature fast-paced run and gun combat, while space combat stresses the long-term tactical aspect of combat between capital ships. Both are offered in concert with the Star Trek storyline and emphasize ship positioning to efficiently utilize shields during space combat, as well as the player's away team's positioning in consideration of flanking damage and finding various weaknesses to exploit during ground combat. Player customization: The game features a variety of ship classes which can be used by all players. Playable ship classes utilize one of three templates for appearance and can be kit-bashed together or recolored to make a unique ship. Ship classes are not restricted based on a player's speciality. Any class of starship is available using only the player's rank as a prerequisite. However, a player's earned skills often correspond with one or more ship classes and must be considered carefully before choosing. Respecialization is available to aid in selecting different abilities or to change ship classes by spending points on another class. A player can also switch between any of his ships at starbases and can even choose older ships the player no longer uses. Uniforms can either be created in the character creation phase or via the tailor found on various starbases. New styles can be used, or, depending on which retail copy or Z-Store pack has been purchased, access to uniforms seen on the various TV shows are available. Costume parts are broadly available across all characters, but certain parts have restrictions based on factions played or gender. Playable races. During character creation, players may select a canonical race from the Star Trek universe, each with its own inherent racial traits, or choose to customize his own unique species. The majority of playable races are exclusive to either the United Federation of Planets, the Klingon Empire, or the Romulan Republic. However, a few exceptions are playable by more than one faction. While the majority of races come standard, additional races may be purchased from Cryptic's online Z-Store. Alien means the player has full access to the character creator to make anything they want without pre-selected features. Character advancement players will find new officers as they level up with various special abilities who can be recruited to the player's crew, or used to train their existing crew members with a new ability that the player's character may not have to offer. New bridge officers can be recruited in this manner, or hired released at an appropriate starbase. Individual combat successes offer skill points and expertise as the main reward. Skill points are the main experience points, which are spent in a skill tree. Skill points are also used to level up the player's captain, with each rank requiring a fixed number of points spent on their skill tree to receive a promotion. Expertise points are spent separate of skill points, affecting only bridge officers. A captain needs to spend a certain amount of expertise as well as energy credits to promote a bridge officer to a higher rank, but progression of a bridge officer is always limited to one rank beneath the player's captain up to the commander rank. Increased bridge officer ranks add new abilities and functionality to ships that a player can trigger on command while in space, as well as added automatic skills for bridge officers to use in ground combat missions. Captain and bridge officer skills are organized between both systems, with each skill improvement applying to either space combat or ground combat only. Crafting Star Trek Online offers a skill-based crafting system that differs from the more conventional item generation features found in most MMORPGs. By collecting various particles or data samples throughout the universe, players are able to craft items of varying degrees of level to help them in their missions. As a player's crafting skill level increases, they gain access to a wider array of more powerful items. Players may craft different types of weapons, shields, or engines for their ships, along with equipment and weapons for ground missions. All come in degrees from common to ultra-rare. The introduction of the gear upgrade system shortly before Season 10 allows most items in the game to be upgraded in level and rarity, while also allowing for epic-grade items to be made. Previously, epic items were restricted to special event and Z-Store items. Currently, a player may raise an attack horter from hatchling status through the crafting system. Note: crafting system has been changed in Season 9.5 and it is now referred as A&D under Duty Officer menu. Player economy and rewards upon completing missions, players gain skill points, expertise, various credits like fleet credits, fleet marks, dilithium, energy credits, and gold-pressed platinum. The paid currencies are Zen and Labai crystals using real-world money. On most assigned missions, players can choose a single prize from a multitude of reward items related to one of the above-mentioned ship or personal equipment categories. Equipment is organized in a similar arrangement to skills, applying to either ground equipment or spaceship parts. Equipment can be purchased from various NPCs at star bases, or through the exchange utilizing only energy credits, or directly from equipment dealers at Earth's space dock using only dilithium. Advanced equipment for both space and ground is available through projects requiring marks, fleet marks for fleet projects, or Omega Romulan marks for the personal reputation system. Equipment that is rare or uncommon in value may bind to a single character or to that player's account on purchase. This limits resale value once used. If a player equips a character-bound or account-bound item, they lose the ability to sell it later without heavy restrictions on the value of the item. Equipment not bound to a player can be resold on the exchange for energy credits to other players without restriction. If bound, equipment can be resold to any vendor for 40 to 50% of the item's value depending on vendor and location, given to another character via mail or account bank, or simply be discarded in the ship's replicator for a third of the item's value. Locked items cannot be sold and include pre-order bonuses, mission-specific items, and unlocked veteran reward items. There are also requisitions, or a single point toward a specific type of free item for the current character's class. For example, as a part of normal advancement, a player can receive a ship requisition from their current mentor contact for a particular class of starship at any starbase after a major rank change. This requisition is redeemable only once, and only allows purchase of a ship that matches the rank ability of the character. Requisitions are also issued through the duty officer system to purchase uncommon, rare, or very rare duty officers. Teaming it is possible for players to pool resources in a number of ways. Missions are issued from Starfleet Command for Federation characters and the Klingon Defense Force for Klingon Empire characters. Players can then join together on the ground or in space to complete these missions. Gamma players fully cooperative and dynamic events serve as one part of the game. Teaming can be done using open teaming, or through traditional ad hoc or search methods used in other MMOs. A fleet is the term for guilds in Star Trek Online, and is formed among a group of players. Fleets allow access to a central fleet bank, a chat channel, a fleet starbase as well as other fleet holdings that can be upgraded and advanced by completing projects, and allow a fleet insignia to replace their faction logo on their starship as well as on their uniforms. Also in Season 6, special raids and fleet actions have been released which are only accessible to players if they are currently in a fleet. Special missions are available that require teamwork as a prerequisite to accomplish a larger task. Fleet actions are available in-game that require the cooperation of a number of players to complete a ground mission together. Special task forces are considered end-game content and allow max-level characters of multiple factions to unite to defeat a common enemy, currently only the Borg Collective, but plans are in the works for Tholian Assembly as well as Iconian Special Task Force missions in future seasons. Deep space encounters are spread across all maps in what is known as sector space, and allow players to team up to clear a field of a number of combatants or space mobs in open space battle. A neutral zone exists between Federation and Klingon space that allows player versus player combat between factions. Combatants queue up on a match map in space or through the PvP queues and fight the opposing faction to meet a single objective. Genesis system there is a capability to explore new star systems in the game. Players will be able to explore inside of uncharted star systems, and might find anomalies that open new resources and technologies, or uncharted planets offering random diplomatic or combat missions. In Season 2, a variety of missions in the Genesis system were added to the Diplomatic XP system, which over time grants non-combat missions, additional titles, and special items. The exploration clusters were removed in Season 9.5. The duty officer assignments regarding the exploration clusters are unchanged and can still be accessed via a location near the previous enter-exit points before the removal of the clusters. Fleet actions similar to raids in other MMORPGs, fleet actions are special missions in which up to 20 players must cooperate to achieve a common goal. These missions can take place both in space as well as on the ground. Contrary to the name, players do not have to be members of a fleet to participate in some of these maps. However, in Season 6, Under Siege special fleet action maps and queues were released that do require a player to be currently in a fleet to participate. As such, these special fleet actions reward a currency known as fleet marks in addition to skill points and expertise that can be spent on projects through the Fleet's Holdings section via the fleet menu accessible from under the mini-map to be used to help advance the fleet's starbase and other holdings and projects. In the Starbase 24 mission, the earliest accessible fleet action, players must work together to destroy 50 Klingon ships to protect the titular facility. Additionally, players can choose to beam down to the surface of Starbase 24 to complete various objectives. Players who contribute the most in these battles are ranked upon completion, and the highest-ranking contributors are awarded with powerful items ranging from green, blue, to in some instances purple qualities. The Foundry On December 2, 2010, the Foundry went in open beta on Tribble, the test server. The Foundry allows players to create their own missions and story arcs that other players can play and then rate and comment upon. It was initially scheduled to be released on Holodeck, the live server, on February 24, 2011. The February 24 date was again pushed back due to the active Rayman featured episodes and has been released to the Holodeck as of March 29, 2011. In August 2012. The Foundry received a major upgrade and overhaul which added more customization options, easier access to maps and generating story content, as well as adding additional maps and objects that can be used by players to craft more advanced and higher quality missions more easily. It is to be noted that despite these major upgrades, the Foundry is still very much under constant development with new features and bug fixes added a few times each major game update or season. Whereas originally Foundry missions were only available if a user searched for them in a separate tab, the Foundry Top 3 system introduced in 2015 now shows 3 random missions out of the top 100 for a certain planet's door in sector space and game. Duty Officer System Introduced with Season 5, the Duty Officer system allows players to assign NPC characters called duty officers to tasks both on and off the player's ship. Once the duty officer is assigned to a task, no further input is needed from the player to ensure its completion. This method of gameplay is optional, and players earn in-game rewards for utilizing it. This system equates to essentially offline character progression, as missions occur in real time, and one of the rewards for completed duty officer missions include XP as well as points and expertise that can be used to advance bridge officer NPCs on your ship. Another reward is points towards various duty officer XP ranks in diplomacy, science, exploration, etc., with higher ranks leading to character prestige abilities and new player titles as well as free very rare duty officers. Limits to offline progress involve the number of duty officers available, assignment slots available, and the types of duty officers and consumable inventory owned, as certain missions have prerequisites. Mission durations range from as short as 15 minutes to as long as 48 hours. Duty officers used for a mission are unavailable for other missions until the time expires. The duty officer system and menu underwent 2 significant updates in Seasons 6 and 9.5 to make the menu easier to navigate as well as make projects easier to understand and clarify the rewards that will be granted if the assignment is successful. Lastly, the listing of the assignment's rarity, in which the more rare an assignment is, the more the rewards are multiplied if the assignment has a critical success or superior outcome. Cryptic has talked about future plans to release an app for mobile devices like the iPhone, iPad, as well as other smartphones and tablet computers that will allow players to manage their duty officers even when away from their main computer. However, no specific timetable has been released for when this feature will be available. Updates Seasons Updates to the game are called Seasons, and are issued to current subscribers free of charge. Season releases are versioned, with major releases offering broad changes, and minor versions that add simpler features, quality of life changes, and bug fixes. Expansion Pack, Legacy of Romulus. Legacy of Romulus is Star Trek Online's first expansion pack, announced on March 21, 2013. a third playable faction, the Romulan Republic, will be added, with the choice of Romulans or Remans as player characters, as they battle a mysterious new enemy and try to discover the secrets behind the destruction of Romulus 2 decades earlier. Denise Crosby, who reprised her role of Tasha Yar during STO's third anniversary, reprised her role of Tasha's daughter Sayla, the Romulan Empress. Also featured as a complete leveling experience from level 1 to 50 for the Romulans and for the Klingons, a Tholian reputation faction, a customizable UI, and an overhauled traits system. Legacy of Romulus was released on May 21, 2013, between the Season 7 and Season 8 releases. Expansion Pack, Delta Rising. Delta Rising is Star Trek Online's second expansion, announced at the official Star Trek convention in Las Vegas on August 2, 2014. Cryptic had hinted of a new expansion in December 2013, with a release late in 2014. The expansion will be set in the Delta Quadrant, the main setting of Star Trek, Voyager. Tim Russ will reprise his role as Admiral Tuvok, and he will be joined by Garrett Wang as Captain Harry Kim of the USS Rhode Island, Jerry Ryan as 7 of 9, Robert Picardo as the Doctor, and Ethan Phillips as Neelix. Lead designer Al Rivera said that several Voyager cast members would appear in Delta Rising. The level cap will be raised from 50 to 60, adding 2 new ranks for each faction, Admiral and Fleet Admiral for the Federation and the Romulan Republic, and General and Daha Master for the Klingons. Several Delta Quadrant races that appeared in Voyager will also be included in the new content, as well as a new tier of ships for the higher levels. As well a Delta reputation tree for players to progress though. Delta Rising was released on October 14, 2014. Subscriptions 2 subscription plans were originally available. Monthly subscription was available for $14.95 a month with price breaks available for 3, 6 or 12-month payments. Lifetime subscription was offered during the beta release as a promotion for $249.99 which waived the monthly fee as long as the account was not cancelled. Lifetime subscriptions were also allowed 2 free character slots and unlocked liberated Borg as a playable species, both of which were not offered to players buying lifetime subscriptions after the beta test and Head Start access ended. After launch the lifetime subscription price rose to $299.99. In Season 1, a number of perks were added to all lifetime players including primarily access to the Captain's Table, a private joint faction starbase exclusive to lifetime and veteran subscribers. After Star Trek Online adopted a hybrid free-to-play model, a third, no-fee tier was added. Silver class users have no monthly fee, but limited access to certain features. Gold class users pay the subscription fee in exchange for perks not offered to the silver players and a monthly allotment of Zen included. Lifetime players have the same perks as gold class players, including the monthly Zen allowance and all of the veteran rewards issued immediately, without the monthly fee. All 3 tiers have access to the Z Store. Microtransactions additional content for Star Trek Online is available through the Zen currency via the Z Store, which are purchased at the game website in fixed amounts of $10, $20, $50 and $100, with a price break at $100. They are also usable in other Cryptic games including Champions Online, but once Zen is assigned to a game, it cannot be moved to another title under Perfect World Entertainment. Additional items available for purchase include added TV and movie costumes, additional ship designs, new player and bridge officer races, pre-order bonus items, temporary boosts, master keys, and account services. Limited items purchased in the Z Store can be resold on the exchange. Dilithium and Zen, added to the Season 5 free-to-play launch, an exchange store was added to the game where dilithium can be exchanged for Zen through an in-game player exchange. This allows free-to-play players to participate in Z Store purchases, as well as allowing players with Zen to exchange their unused points towards dilithium, which can be used by itself to purchase uncommon, rare, and very rare in-game items as well. Dilithium is given throughout the game in small amounts for mission completion and during player advancement as unrefined dilithium. Refining it makes the dilithium available to spend or trade, Although a limit on how much dilithium can be refined per day exists according to the subscription tier your player is under, the limit for gold lifetime players is 8,000 refined dilithium generated per day per character. Zen cannot be earned through any method except by participating in the exchange using dilithium, or purchasing it online. Zen is available through the use of prepaid cards at many brick-and-mortar retailers including Target, Walmart, and Best Buy in $10 and $20 increments. Free-to-play On September 1, 2011, Cryptic Studios announced that Star Trek Online would switch to free-to-play, but without full access to all the items. Later, it was announced that free-to-play would be starting Tuesday, January 17, 2012. F2P for existing, but cancelled, customers began Thursday, January 5. Veteran Rewards In April 2010, Cryptic Studios launched a program known as Veteran Rewards which grants players additional perks, titles and items based on their total paid subscription time. Disbursements occur in 100-day increments and do not count days in which an account is inactive. In the case of lifetime players, time accrues for the loyalty program as long as the account is not cancelled. A similar system was implemented in one of Cryptic's previous games, City of Heroes. As of October 10, 2012, all lifetime subscribers to the game receive all the veteran rewards through 1,000-day issued immediately, regardless how long that the player has participated. Development Initially, Perpetual Entertainment developed the game from 2004 to 2008 until its bankruptcy in January 2008. The license to develop the game and art assets were transferred to Cryptic Studios. However, the code remained with Perpetual Entertainment and its Perpetual game engine. Cryptic Studios officially announced the development of Star Trek Online on July 28, 2008. As a countdown timer on Cryptic's website reached 0 and the new official site was launched. A letter was sent out from Jack Emmett, the game's online producer, detailing some aspects of Cryptic's approach. Cryptic originally announced a Windows version of STO. During the Las Vegas conference in August 2008, Cryptic announced that there would be neither Linux nor Mac versions for the original launch, though they did not rule out the possibility of later port releases. As of 11/13, the STO Mac version was in open beta, and by 314, it was released, though highly problematic. Console versions were announced several months before the release, with no specific console platform specified, but Cryptic has since announced that all console versions of their games are on indefinite hold due to difficulties on the business side of things, largely referring to the fees assessed by Microsoft for their Xbox Gold Premium online gaming service and the difficulty in asking a player to pay both that and the Cryptic subscription fee to play a single game. Star Trek Online was released in North America on February 2, 2010, in Europe on February 5, 2010, and in Australia on February 11, 2010. Customers who ordered the game in advance were able to gain access to the game on January 29, 2010, via a bonus head start which was included with pre-order packages. Las Vegas Star Trek Convention 2008 On August 10, 2008, the Las Vegas Star Trek Convention was held at the Hilton Hotel in Las Vegas, Nevada. Leonard Nimoy and Cryptic Studios Chief Creative Officer Jack Emmett together revealed the first gameplay trailer, featuring various Federation and Klingon starships in combat with each other and Borg vessels, as well as footage of a Klingon squad boarding a Federation ship's bridge. The release date was not publicly revealed except that it would be less than 3 years. Beta test Star Trek Online's closed beta test officially began when it was announced on October 22, 2009. Cryptic Studios offered guaranteed beta access to users who bought 6-month and lifetime subscriptions to Champions Online. However, the offer did not explicitly state how early in the beta process the access would be granted. Some pre-order packages included access to the open beta running from January 12 to 26, 2010. Release and operations. Promotions Cryptic Studios partnered with several retailers for distribution of pre-order copies. Each retailer had a version with unique and exclusive content, such as a Borg bridge officer, a classic Constitution-class starship, sniper rifle, chromodynamic armor, 500 bonus skill points, neodymium deflector dish, or a triple targ pet. All versions of the game came with access to the open beta and head start launch date. These are on a limited basis, but may still be found after launch, depending on stock. At launch, Cryptic allowed single accounts to apply multiple retail keys, adding multiple pre-order benefits to their current account. Most of the pre-order benefits are now available through the Cryptic Points store without purchasing a retail box or adding time to an account. In addition, the code for a Wrath of Khan Admiral's uniform is included in the DVD release of The Best of Star Trek, The Next Generation Volume 2, and the Blu-ray release of Star Trek, The Original Series, Season 3. Also, Cryptic partnered with Del Taco to offer codes with collectible cups that come with a Type 8 shuttlecraft non-combat pet, as well as 2 days of trial time per code that allow a total of 10 days of trial play time when a player uses all 4 available codes. Price reductions. On February 25, 2010, Atari announced that they would be reducing the cost of Star Trek Online on their online store by $10 and including an extra 60 days of free game time, as a limited-time offer that expired on March 3, 2010. The game has adopted a hybrid free-to-play model as of January 17, 2012. The free-to-play tier ended the sale of the Star Trek Online retail box at stores as well as unused retail codes. Players on a subscription can continue as a Gold-class player, receiving a monthly allowance of Zen, a higher cap of energy credits, and other perks not offered to free-to-play users in the Silver class. Non-payment of the subscription fee changes the account to Silver class until the subscription resumes. Lifetime players can receive Gold class benefits without paying the monthly subscription fee. Ownership. Upon launch, Star Trek Online was owned by Cryptic Studios and published by Atari Interactive, along with sister title Champions Online. On May 17, 2011, Atari indicating they no longer wanted to pursue MMORPG gaming, and that they planned to sell Cryptic Studios off. Later in that same month, Perfect World Entertainment purchased Cryptic Studios for $50.3 million and continued their operations. The in-game real-world currency has had repeated name changes due to the shifting ownership of publishers. Initially Cryptic Points, they became Atari Points shortly after the Star Trek Online launch, then reverted to Cryptic Points after Atari sold STO to Perfect World Entertainment and stripped Atari's logos and assets from the client. After securing the publishing rights to Cryptic's games from the Atari sale, Perfect World has changed the currency name to Zen, due to a business agreement with their international partners in certain regions. Perfect World Entertainment blocks Star Trek Online from certain regions, including China, Taiwan, Russia, Hong Kong, South Korea, Macau, Vietnam and Egypt, and will apply this block both to players wanting to start as well as existing accounts that travel to these regions. Reception. Star Trek Online has received mixed reviews, garnering a 66 on Metacritic. GameSpot praised the game's space combat as entertaining, but found the other aspects of the game to be bland and shallow. Wi-Fi's reviewer reviewed the game favorably but criticized many aspects of gameplay, including poor voice acting, and repetitive quests. An IGN reviewer described the game experience as feeling like two games, which did not mesh together well, and although visually it was quite a gorgeous game, found much of the gameplay to be repetitive in nature. On January 4, 2011, Massive Online Gamer announced that Star Trek Online won Best New MMO of 2010 in its Reader Choice Awards 2010. See also, History of Star Trek games. References. External links, Star Trek Online at community.arsgames.com, Star Trek Online at Memory Alpha, the Star Trek Online Wiki.